Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to try and summarize the Nintendo Switch 2's reveal, but at like 8 a.m. Pacific, like when we're never awake.
Right, yeah. We're a little bleary from lack of sleep right now, but we do it for the video games. And also, even though the Switch 2 Direct went all over the place, tons of information, let me summarize it for you right now. Ah, man.
It's, there are some cool things, but then mainly kept saying oof. I was just saying oof over and over. Oof.
some oofs, some cool things. That's Nintendo, baby. So I guess let's get right into it. First thing, here's the top line news. The Switch 2 launches on June 5th for $450.
It was rumored to be $399, and bad news, tariffs. Although here in the US it's $450. It could be different, obviously, in Japan and the UK and things like that. So Nintendo Switch 2 will be available for pre-order in North America from participating retailers beginning on April 9th, 2025. That's like a week away.
Yeah, we got some time to get our pennies together. You can, however, register right now. You can register your interest to buy a Switch 2 direct from Nintendo through their Nintendo store. There's some stipulations on that, though. You have to have made an account. You have to have played like a game for 50 hours and shared that data with Nintendo. So it's pretty clear they're trying to authenticate actual living humans and sell Switches direct to them, which is, I think, kind of an anti-scalping move. If it actually works, that's pretty cool. Sony did something similar with a PS5. Pretty popular move.
I really appreciate it. We didn't get full hardware specs for this thing, but they did show lots of little bits and bobs. 256 gigs of internal storage, 4K 60 FPS video output when docked, and of course the storage is expandable via the microSD express cards.
Yeah, that's kind of cool that it can do 4K 60. I think that was kind of up in the air. Also, it has a 120 hertz display on the handheld unit itself, so that's going to look really cool in motion. And 1080p. So 120 hertz 1080p, that's really good for a handheld, I think. The screen itself is slightly larger than the Switch 1. It's got a 7.9 inch screen compared to the Switch 1's 6.2 inch, and it's exactly as thick as the original Switch, despite being a little larger.
One small note, it's LCD, not OLED. So,
oh, yeah.
That's very important.
But it'll support HDR, so they're saying it'll have the vibrancy and contrast, but probably won't pop as hard as an OLED screen does.
The new platform's banner game is Mario Kart World, an open world version of Nintendo's top-selling racing game.
Yep, and this is where Nintendo's really sticking it to us. There will be a Switch 2 Mario Kart World bundle for $500, or you can buy the game separately for $80. Of all the companies, Nintendo's the one pushing up the individual price of games. Now, it's possible that they're doing this to make the bundles seem like an incredible deal in comparison, which kind of it is. But yeah, really fascinating stuff. I guess they're really betting on this being a huge seller like previous Mario Karts were.
Yeah, they will, because like you said, they sold what, 67 million Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Oh, geez. So yeah, that's why they're doing it. Other first-party Nintendo games coming. Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's a 3D platformer with terrain deformation and destructibility, which is super cool. This was the one game that I was like, whoa, this looks really neat.
Yeah, weirdly, the suggested retail price for that game is $70. So 80 is not the new Nintendo standard, maybe just for the franchises that sell a ton. Does this mean eventually we'll get an $80 Animal Crossing game? Boy, that'd be baffling.
Oh, gee, what a nightmare. Also, Lawrence and our favorite game was Drag X Drive, a wheelchair basketball game. They could be robots that are using the Joy-Con 2s in mouse mode to simulate operating a wheelchair and playing basketball.
Dunk, and you can pat, you can high five. I really like the idea of them being robots, because that means an inventor gave them non-functional robot legs, which seems a little cruel, but hey, it's Nintendo. There's also, it gets weirder from here. The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which is a for purchase interactive tutorial highlighting the Switch 2's design and hardware features. So, right. Did you know that the shoulder buttons on the Joy-Con are metal and that's how the magnets work? Well, if you pay to play fucking Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, you can find that out.
Also, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. It's another Hyrule Warriors game set for the events of Tears of the Kingdom in the Zelda universe.
Yep, and no Smash, but we did get Kirby Air Riders. Kirby Air Riders, another Kirby's Air Ride game, dude. I know, what are they thinking? This is actually directed by the Smash Brothers series director Masahiro Sakurai, so it'll probably have some kind of spice behind it, but we just kind of saw a concept trailer. It's supposed to be coming in 2025.
Sakurai said, Nintendo, if you make me make another Smash Brothers, I'm going to kill myself. And so they said, all right, what about Kirby Air Riders? And he's like, fine, whatever.
I'll stay alive for that one. And then in terms of exclusives, didn't get a whole lot of third-party ones here, but probably the darkest horse of them all, the darkest grim dankest, From Software announced the Dusk Bloods, which kind of sounds like a sitcom to me. It's a very Bloodborne-looking Switch 2 exclusive, but it's that same, it looks like a Souls game. You can turn into a T-Rex. I guess you're a vampire man. I don't know. It's a hell of a thing, but it's dark, it's gothic, it's European. It's probably the weirdest thing that no one really saw coming. And boy, what an affront to anyone that wanted a Bloodborne remaster or a sequel, huh? How expensive is that game going to be? I guess we'll have to wait.
Oh, the Bloodborne remaster, $150. I don't know. Apparently, also the Dusk Bloods is multiplayer and also PvPvE. So it seems very interesting for FromSoft, although they have been venturing into that with Elden Ring Night Rain. So
can't wait to get invaded by a red demon whose profile picture is just a wobbling dick the whole time.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the fucking webcam. Oh, that's where it's coming up. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Certain Switch 1 games will also have paid upgrades for Switch 2. Weirdly, I've seen some conflicting reports on this. I've seen some ways that you can get a Switch 2 upgrade for free, or it's free for Nintendo Switch Online members, or free for Nintendo Switch 1 owners. I've seen people say that, but I haven't seen any direct information from Nintendo about that. What the Direct did say is that these are available for purchase, so we're going to run with that for now.
So one of those upgrades for the Switch 2 is Super Mario Party. It'll get a Jamboree TV expansion, mini games that use the Joy-Con 2's mouse functions, built-in mic, and the Switch 2 camera, which we'll talk about here in a second.
Wait, I can't wait for that. Yeah. There's also upgrades to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. This is the thing I was hoping for, some way to play these games in a more civilized manner. They'll have increased frame rates, increased performance, HDR support, and, because it's Nintendo, a weird little bit with your phone.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can use Zelda Notes. It's a companion experience inside the Nintendo Switch app for mobile devices. So it's on your phone through the Nintendo Switch app, and then there's like a weird GPS, and like you can map waypoints with voice navigation and share auto build schematics. It looks kind of cool, actually. All that stuff requires a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, so you got to pay for that Zelda Notes stuff. Just in case you were wondering.
It does look cool. The ability to share schematics through QR codes is actually a slick idea. One of the few contemporary integrations of technology we've seen from Nintendo, in addition to them reinventing Discord, which we'll also get to in just a minute. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is getting a Switch 2 exclusive story expansion called Star-Crossed World.
Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will get mouse aim, which is cool, and 4K 60 FPS or 1080p 120 FPS output.
Yeah, a Nintendo game that has quality or performance mode settings.
Wow.
We're really entering the future. But also we're rolling it back to the past. Pokemon Legends ZA will get enhanced resolutions and frame rates, which means it'll run like only a 15-year-old game instead of a 30-year-old game.
All right, and here's my favorite part of the whole thing. Because when I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? You can get a Nintendo webcam for your Switch 2. Like it's 2003.
Right, $50. Yep, a Nintendo webcam. It's on a dumb little stand. According to Nintendo's vision, this is primarily for use with Game Chat. This is a new service for Switch 2, and that's launched via the new C button that was on the Joy-Con 2 controllers. And yeah, this is just Nintendo's version of Discord.
But worse. There's a mic built into the Switch 2, which supposedly can isolate your voice from other room noise like a blender.
Yeah, when your bro's mixing up a protein shake. I really, really, really want to hear parents screaming at their kids when I bash them at Mario Kart, though, so I really hope it's not too good at screening that stuff out. You can also video chat with other people while playing a game and share your game in crisp, eye-friendly 5 FPS video. It looked really bad. I'm sure it's good enough just for the sake of sharing and hanging out, but man, I didn't want to look at it for too long.
It really started to hurt a little bit. This will eventually require a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, but it's open access until March 31st, 2026. So I'm imagining they're sort of beta testing this to see if people even use it, and then they'll just be like sunsetted if nobody goes for it.
Yeah, or get people hooked on using it, and then when 2026 rolls around, then they extort people into signing up for Nintendo Switch Online. To be fair, Nintendo Switch Online isn't that expensive. It's the cheapest of all the subscription models. And
it is.
They're out there trying to come up with weird reasons to make it more valuable, like their Nintendo Music app, stuff like that. So Nintendo's out there Nintendoing. To wit, they have another camel-capped game feature they'd like to tell you about. Game Share.
This is not so bad, I guess. You can temporarily share a single copy of a game with other local Switch players. This was shown operating across Switch 1 and Switch 2 systems. The games themselves have to support it, so it doesn't really work with everything. It's got to be built into the game.
Yeah, I remember some games on Nintendo DS would do that. You could kind of send guest copies to other people and then play games together. It took forever back in the day, though, to transfer all that stuff wirelessly. So I'm curious if it's a full console game and you're sending it like local over an ad hoc network. We'll see how long it takes in practice, but it's still a cool idea. Speaking of other kind of baffling hardware features, there was a section of the Direct dedicated to 3D audio where you could hear a storm and then a horse ride past. So they've mastered the power of stereo sound.
It's got a USB-C port on the top and the bottom, so you can charge it in tabletop mode and also plug in your webcam. So
Yeah, that was the other big feature. I am curious how much they'll extend the USB functionality of the Switch. Could you just plug in a USB mouse?
why not?
Can you just use a mouse? Can you plug in a keyboard? Can you plug in like a USB hub and plug in all sorts of stuff? Who knows? There's also a new Switch 2 Pro controller that'll run you $80, and it's got, wait for it, HD Rumble 2. That's right, an audio jack. That's kind of a nice feature. And it's got paddle buttons on the back that can be mapped to any of the inputs. So you can finally go pro in Splatoon.
Only $80. Third-party publishers announced a slew of Switch 2 ports. Brick of titles courtesy of Chris String's newsletter.
Oh boy, should we go for the whole thing? You want to just read it all?
Do you want to do every other?
Elden Ring,
Hades 2,
Street Fighter 6,
Split Fiction,
EA Sports FC,
Madden NFL,
an enhanced version of Hogwarts Legacy,
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 with Bam Margera.
Hitman World of Assassination with Bam Margera.
Project 007, which is cool. This is cool.
Yeah, whatever that is. Didn't see much of it. It was just kind of a concept trailer. But Bravely Default is back.
Yakuza 0,
Deltarune, chapters 1 through 4.
Randy Pitchford's Borderlands 4,
Civilization 7.
WWE 2K,
NBA 2K.
Enter the Gungeon 2,
Survival Kids.
Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions,
Cyberpunk 2077.
Final Fantasy VII Remake,
2 Point Museum.
Wild Hearts S,
Witchbrook.
Puyo Puyo Tetris,
First game I bought on the Switch. Anyway. Rune Factory.
Marvel Cosmic Invasion,
Star Wars Outlaws.
Fast Fusion,
Better for Fast Fusion. Reanimal.
World Premiere Fortnite,
Yeah, Fortnite's here. Professor Layton and the new world of Steam.
and then Human Fall Flat 2.
Woo, okay. All right. More games, though. Older games. Guess what? GameCube is coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
I'm not surprised. Games shown for that launch: The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, and F-Zero GX. Lawrence was very excited.
Yeah, well, any mention of F-Zero gets my motor running a little bit. They showed a slew of other titles that the Direct kind of implied would be coming in the future. I don't think these are going to be available at launch, but it'll probably be dribbling out like Nintendo likes to do. Those titles are Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Super Mario Strikers, Chibi Robo, Pokemon XD, Pokemon Coliseum, and Luigi's Mansion.
Nintendo's also selling a wireless GameCube controller available for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers.
Like squeezing the Nintendo Switch Online thing every time they can. And then they announced a slew of official Switch 2 accessories that are all listed on Nintendo's website. But it also gives us a price of all the bits and bobs kind of associated with the system. First up, the new Joy-Con 2. You can get a pair of those for $90. Ugh.
Oh my gosh, the charging grips for those things are $35. What the?
But it is a charging grip this time, so it's got like a battery in it that charges the Joy-Con. The last one was just like a little plastic bit, so that's something, I guess. You can get a set of 2 Joy-Con 2 wheels if you like to use tilt controls, for $20, so that's some cheap plastic.
This one people are upset about. The Switch 2 dock is $110, which seems like a lot for a dock.
That is a lot. I mean, it comes with a slew of accessories as well. It comes with like a cord, an AC adapter. But yes, that's a lot for a dock. There's a Nintendo official carrying case and screen protector for $35.
The Switch 2 carrying case, which is $80.
That's a lot, but it is kind of cute. It's shaped like a cube. It looks like a Nintendo block. They kind of got me with that one. Not that I'm going to get it, but. And then the AC adapter is $30, although I do wonder if like any 65 watt USB-C thing will charge this. The Switch 1 was pretty particular. It did kind of require some specific things. Eventually some third-party adapters came out, but that's what we're looking at. I don't know, Bruce, how do you feel about everything? What's your verdict on this whole situation?
I might be a little biased because I was kind of reading rumors and everyone kept saying $399 was the retail. And I, over and over, was like, I don't think they're going to sell this thing for $400. I really don't. It feels too cheap. And I was right. So this is scary for me because $449 is like that's about right for here in the US for a Nintendo Switch 2. However, the even more like it's sort of like the icing on the cake. Like they're $449, they raised it probably $50 from the rumored price, but then they're charging $80 for Mario Kart World. Now that is where I start to go, whoa, hold on a minute. Like we start to sort of back up and be like, this might be too much. And thank God the Donkey Kong game is $70. Because if that was $80, I would have been like, no thanks. Like I would have tapped out. So it's such an interesting thing to charge $80 for Mario Kart World. The only thing I can figure is, we talked about this when we were reacting to the press conference, but like Lawrence said, Mario Kart Deluxe, 8 Deluxe had sold 65 million copies or something. It's like one of the best-selling games ever. And what they're doing is they're just squeezing those people that bought 8 Deluxe. That's it. That's all they're doing. They know that, let's say half of the people that bought that game will buy Mario Kart World. And if it's an extra $10, that's a shitload of money that they have just made on a game that they could have charged 70 for, and nobody would have batted an eye. So now it's like, we're sort of venturing into unknown territory, I think, for Nintendo, because they don't usually raise their prices so much for something like this.
Yeah, it's really quirky because they have the bundle right there where Mario Kart is $50. And theoretically, those two things are going to sit right next to each other on the shelf. I struggle, like the $80 is quite shocking for a game, but also what's the specific use case where somebody would do that? Like the only people buying a Switch 2 are the ones that are going to get Mario Kart World. So the only time I can think that somebody's interested in playing Mario Kart World and would be forced to buy the $80 version of the game is if the bundles are all sold out, which is a shitty situation to be in, because that means because of market scarcity, you have to pay $30 more for the things you wanted. So that's really, really strange to me. Either I could see them pricing in a higher margin, especially on something like Mario Kart. I could see them like saying, like looking at the sales numbers and being like, oh yeah, we could get a little more money out of this. But what's utterly baffling to me is that the bundle makes that so much cheaper. So I don't know. I think it might be a perception shifting move, which is weird. I think they need to shatter people's upper bounds of what they're willing to pay for a game for obvious reasons. And I think this is a air quote safe way to do it because nobody actually has to pay it. It's just there for $80 by itself. And then I guess just the sticker shock will eventually wear off. And then maybe on future games that they consider hugely invested in. Because I guess that's what also they're thinking. Mario Kart World did look like a pretty big game. So they might be thinking, on top of like the fact that it sells a ton, they're also like, we had to double our investment into this game, so we need to get some realization off of it. I also think that Nintendo usually, or lately, they've had some angle on selling digital games cheaper. I did see a couple of people saying that the digital version of Mario Kart would be cheaper than the physical, but I couldn't find verification of that myself, or any like specific price or announcement to that effect. But then for Switch 1, Nintendo did have like a digital promotion where you could buy 2 download tickets for $100 and get their first party games that would retail for 60 or 70 for 50, sort of. You just had to jump through a weird hoop to do it. So I feel like that might also be the case as well, that they're putting Mario Kart out there for $80 to drive up the value prospect of whatever other loopholes they might come up with. The loophole right now is just buy the bundle instead, which also gives you a digital download code. So it gets you kind of into the Nintendo Switch Online ecosystem that way. Yeah, weird move. I'm inventing a lot of 4D chess to explain what is likely just we want more money. What's interesting to me is at $450, the Switch 2, the base unit, is more expensive than the cheapest Steam Deck, which has games that are a lot cheaper than $80. And if the only reason you're buying a Nintendo platform is to play Nintendo games, and you're thinking about which platform to invest in the future, if Nintendo's soft saying that their games are going to be $80 now, and that's the reason you would want to Switch to, that makes the calculus a lot more complicated when you could get a Steam Deck and access the PC ecosystem of software that's often much, much cheaper than that.
This is also really bad for all of us as consumers. This is very, very bad. Even if all the things that Lawrence is saying are true, like again, the bundle's cheaper, it's at $50, or you buy those digital tickets or whatever, the retail says 80. And this means all the other publishers, every other developer, every other, they want to see that line go up. They're licking their chops. I'm telling you, Activision Blizzard is so excited to see this $80 price. I promise you, GTA, so excited to see this because they're not the ones that broke the seal. Nintendo's the one that broke the seal on this. And I really do. I really think this because now they could be like, well, Nintendo, Mario Kart World, that's $80. That's why GTA 6 is $80. And that's why Call of Duty is $80. Like, I think it's very, very bad for us as consumers.
Well, I think you hit a point there too. This is like 5D chess, but Nintendo might have done it this way as a favor to their partners.
Ooh.
To create a digital sales platform where, yeah, their third-party partners like Activision can charge $80 for a game.
Wow.
And like it's air quotes safe because Nintendo's still offering the bundle, so you can still get Mario Kart for $50, sort of. And meanwhile, yeah, you're right, the seal has been broken. I know that a lot of third parties were very excited for the Switch 2 because it was a platform to sell things like Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy VII Remake, to potentially reach a whole new generation of players that kind of play on handheld or only play service-based games. So yeah, you're right. Maybe this is Nintendo creating an ecosystem where you can sell premium single-player experiences for much higher dollar amounts.
Man, I just all of this just doesn't feel good, and it just doesn't feel good in 2025 too, because this year is not really started out very well for most people, especially here in the United States. So I don't know. Maybe the tariffs are the problem. Maybe that's why everything's so expensive now. I think that it's giving a lot of people pause. Whereas if they had put this out for 400 and whatever, Mario Kart World was 70, no question. Everybody was like, buy. And now I see a lot of people complaining online. Now I don't know if that means they're not going to buy it, but they are complaining, and it is for sure sort of causing me to second guess this purchase.
They got me. I mean, honestly, for me, the bundle is all I care about.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know that I would pay $80 for a new Mario Kart. There are Nintendo games I would pay $80 for a new version of. I'd pay $80 for a new Smash Brothers. I'd pay $80 for like a new massive scale 3D Mario game. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't. While driving around wherever I want seems cool, I don't know that that's necessarily perceptively like a mark above what's already been there. It does almost follow pricing logic from like 3 or 4 years ago, where something that was open world was considered premium and big scale and the only kind of game really that was worth $60 or $70. But perceptions have kind of shifted around that. People have kind of burned out on open world. So I don't know that that's necessarily a premium marketing point anymore. And here's Nintendo coming along with the upcharge on that exact thing. So yeah, bad timing. But I still think the bundles will fly. I think people will buy the base hardware. You don't have to buy Mario Kart if you don't want to, so that'll be interesting. But Nintendo also very rarely reduces the prices of their games over time. So usually when it's set, it's set. So are we going to be dealing with an $80 Mario Kart for the next 10 years? Maybe that's why. Maybe they wanted to put in a nice margin, thinking that it's going to sell over the next 5 or 6 years. And then when other games go up to 80, they were already there, so they don't have to think about raising prices or anything.
I would like to see, put your response in the comments. I would love to see whether or not you're going to buy this, or if you're going to do like Lauren said, buy the bundle, or if this is sort of causing you to be like, never mind, maybe I'll wait and see if they lower the price during the holidays. Because Lawrence is right. They don't typically lower the prices on their games, usually.
Yeah, well, we got some time to save up, though. We got a couple of months. I'm excited to see the hardware. I'm excited to see it in action. I'm excited to see the UI. I don't give a shit about game chat. But I'll probably mess with it just to see, whenever Nintendo reinvents the wheel, it's always a slightly weird, wonkety, busted wheel. So it's fun to see the new wheels that they come up with. But I'm also an enthusiast, and that's just kind of what I'm all about. So I'm sold, but I was sold before it even started.
Mm-hmm. Well, good luck out there, and you really got to think about every single dollar now.